Join. I see a stamp room, and I see the back of Paula's head. And my girl Teresa. There's Sherry. Oh, and I can't hear you guys. Hang on. It would help if I could hear you guys.
Hey.
Hey, Sherry.
Sherry.
This is cool.
Hi.
Now I can see you guys. That's so awesome. And I can see you guys on my computer and my hands down here on my phone, and I can hear you guys through my phone. So this is really weird for me. So it's going to take a minute to get used to it. You guys look like you have all your hair done.
Oh,
No.
you're kidding, right?
No.
Well, compared to this mom.
Teresa.
My haircut was this morning.
Nice.
Hey, Sherry.
Hi, girl.
So Sherry and Teresa, you were at boot camp. Why do you need help with blending?
Because we
I can
love
always
you.
learn something, and we love you. That's right.
So you're just here for the camera time.
We want to play with you.
You guys are hysterical.
I always learn something when I'm with you. Always.
You know what? We should just, since we're all friends, we should just do this all the daggum time. Who cares? I can see your
I'm
beautiful
in.
faces.
Hi, Paula.
So, in the very beginning, you guys are going to see that you're going to see me like setting everything up. So it's going to look a little wonky if you guys go back for the replay. So there's Annie. She's joining us.
Christina, I'm going to be mute a lot because I've got 3 loud dogs sitting here with me.
Oh, don't worry about it. You guys are going to have to, when Jake and the kids get home, because I sent them out to go get me a milkshake. I really wanted a peach milkshake.
Ooh.
Like really bad. So,
There's a mute.
I left them out, but my dogs, oh Lord have mercy. Yeah.
I remember. They're cute.
The smallest one, she screams. It sounds like there is a child screaming at the top of their lungs when somebody comes home. She doesn't bark. She doesn't howl. She screams. It's insane.
Mm-mm.
So
I'll be sitting this afternoon, so I've got my grandpuppy. Will be here about 2:30.
aw, that's nice.
So you might hear him come in a little while.
That's okay. That is okay. And Teresa, she looks all professional with her little ear thingies in her ears.
Well, that's because my husband is right outside the store fixing the sink, the outside sink next to the grill, and he'll be coming in and out of the store, and he'll start talking, and I don't want to hear him, so I just put my earbuds.
It's not that she doesn't want us to hear him, it's that she don't want to hear him. Did you notice that?
I don't want to hear it.
Okay, so for you guys to really see what I'm doing, if you guys want to put it on a speaker mode, then you'll see just me. You won't see everybody. You'll just see me, if that makes it easier for you. So we'll just go ahead and get started. I don't have anybody in the waiting room at all. But Jake, my husband, used to work for a professional printer with the big old huge printing presses and stuff like that. And so when I very first started coloring, I had issues like you would not believe on blending. When I would color people, they would literally look like they had a skin disease. It was terrible. I mean, it looked like they were related to Michael Jackson. It was bad. So I sat him down, and then I did a bunch of research on paper. And how porous paper was and how I know how to test paper for porosity. Well, I should not know that. I should not, but I do. But the smoother your paper is, now you want smooth paper, but if who here is heavy-handed? Anybody heavy-handed besides me?
Me,
Okay. So, Paula, what kind of paper are you using, honey?
I use the Express It. That's it.
Oh, honey, you're going to want to change.
Really?
You are going to want to change.
Why?
That is going to be your biggest issue with blending right now. I have Copic Express It here because I still have like a smidge of it left.
I have
I've been
some Nina 80 and 110 too. Which one I need today?
I'm just going to show you which one I like best and what works for me, and we're going to find out which one works for you.
Okay.
This one, the Nina 80, I use when I'm printing out digital stamps because my printer won't take the 110.
Right.
The 110 is my absolute supreme favoriteest paper in the world. So the Copic Express is like, if you put them all together, you can feel the difference in how smooth they are. So the smoother your paper, the less porous it's going to be. So that means that the ink is just going to sit on top, and it's just, you're just going to get a muddled mess. As to where with
Might be my problem. Okay.
yes, so
Have
a
you
paper that's
ever
a little
used
bit
that
more,
Hammermill paper?
that is just as smooth as the Copic Express It. Copic Express It and Hammermill are right about the same smoothness. And that's why if you use the Hammermill or the Express It, they're more smooth than the Nina, and they're not as porous. So if you use a paper that's just slightly rougher than the Express It, like the 80-pound, the Ninas, now to me, the Nina 100-pound is a little bit more rough than the 80-pound. So, but for somebody who's heavy-handed, that paper, if you're using the Nina, it's going to soak up some of that ink. You're still able to move it, but it's not going to sit on top like the Copic, and it's also not, or the Hammermill, and it's also not going to soak in and to where you just have this muddled mess because you're using so much ink. Because when you're heavy-handed, you use a lot of ink. Now they say don't use rough paper because it uses a lot of ink, but at the same time, the way I do it, if it looks like a muddled mess or something goes wrong with my thing, I throw it away. So I'm still using a lot of paper, so why not just use paper that I'm going to get it right the first time?
So which one is better if you're heavy-handed?
The Nina.
The 80 or the 110?
The 80-pound if you're doing digital, the 110 if you're doing traditional stamping.
Okay.
Now, if you're good with the 80-pound, because again, coloring is personal preference, but the 80-pound, if you're good with the 80-pound, go for it. But if that 110, you feel like you're really trucking, you're doing a good job, go with the 100-pound if you can, unless it's a digital stamp. So let's see. I'm going to just going to grab some skin colors here so you can see. So like I have my basic, the E04, the E21, the E11, and the E00. So if I use that, oh, and I don't know if y'all can see this. I tried to zoom in as much as I can. My son, Steven, wanted to make sure you all saw his little potato man.
Oh.
And it says, Fancy Spud has brought you tea. And it was in my office this morning when I came in here with a cup of tea. Sitting next to it. And he's like, you're not going to throw that, because I started cleaning up. He goes, you're not going to throw that away before your meeting, are you? I was like, no, I'll leave it there. He goes, good, I want everyone to see my potato man.
Okay,
So
Christina,
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. What was that? Did somebody say something?
Yeah, this is Teresa. So say it one more time about the smooth paper and ink.
So with the smooth paper, the smoother the paper, the less porosity. I don't know if I'm saying that right, because I don't know, it's a tongue twister for me. But the smoother the paper, the less porosity you're going to have. And so your ink is going to sit on the top. And so it's just going to puddle on there. As to where the Neenah paper, it's a little bit more rough, the rougher the paper, because if you think about it, think about watercolor paper. It's really, really thick.
Yep.
Right.
And it's really, really rough, right? It's super rough. So since it's so rough, the watercolor just soaks in there. So the rougher the paper, the more you're going to it's going to soak in for us heavy-handers, and you're going to still be able to move it around because it's still a little bit rough. With the smooth paper, like Copic Express It or the Hammer Mill, it just sits on top and it doesn't soak in right away. So this is good for, if you're not heavy-handed, if you're light-handed, you are good to go for Copic Express It. You're totally fine. But if you're heavy-handed, I suggest the Neenah. So I'm going to go with my, I always start with my E11. This is how I do ink, or my face. So I'm going to start with my E11. I'm just going to do some flicks out there. And then I'm going to do my E04. And then I usually go back over with my E11. See, it's already starting to get mucky on me. Ugh. And then, oh, there they go. And then, sorry about the dogs. Then I've got E21. And I've got E11. So, oh, am I staying on camera here? So you can see how it's already kind of getting the little dots and looking all functified. Can you guys see that? Am I on camera?
Yeah.
There I am. Okay.
Yeah.
I see that.
I feel like I'm six-armed or something, having two cameras and holding things up. This feels weird. Sorry. So that's what the Copic Express It. It already looks a little muddled. So I'm going to do the same exact thing with the Neenah. I'm going to do my E11, my E04. Now see, look it. Could you see the difference? Watch. I see the difference already. If I go to the Copic Express It and do just the 11 and do just the 4, can you see the difference? This one already looks mucky for me, as to where that one doesn't. Can you guys tell? Am I not close enough? Let me.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to do that real fast on the 100-pound now. So E11 and E04. So now you can see the difference between all three. Now the Neenahs are pretty much the same. And this one is thicker, but it's a little bit rougher. It's about the same, maybe a little bit rougher than the 80. But it doesn't look as mucky as this one. I don't have any Hammer Mill paper right now, or I'd show you Hammer Mill too. Sorry. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the 80-pound. And I'm going to blend this out. But it's not looking mucky. Or maybe I should say dotty, because mine I get like these little white dots everywhere. It's weird. So, and then I'm going to do the E21. And one thing you have to remember when you're blending too is that Okay, well, I guess it's you don't have to remember. The reason I go from dark to light instead of just wetting the whole paper down like everyone else, a lot of people do. A lot of people that teach classes tell you to put, if you're doing, faces or whatever, to do the E000 first, put it all down, get everything wet, and then go to dark. The only reason I don't do that is because when you have a dark color, the light colors, like the E00s and the ones, because this is a 4, the ones and the zeros, they're going to dilute those darker colors. So when you start with a 0 right away over, underneath, it's diluting every single color you put on the top. Now, the E04, I do put the 11 down first because this one is so just bold and harsh that I'm just thought it can be a little stinker to try to get it to blend. So that one I will put an E11 down sbefore I put the E04, but I won't put the 0 down because then it dilutes it too much. And that's when all of the little splotchy marks start. Do you guys get that? Like, it's almost as if you took a rag and you stuck it and it's got dots on it now with the clear blender color.
Christina,
So that's what yes, ma'am.
okay, would it be a bad thing then to do like the E00, the 11, and the 21 and blend those 3, then do a little bit of a darker shade of the E04 to the side for shadowing and blend it in?
Well, if you do it that way, then you're still diluting that 4 when you put it in.
Okay, all right, because I'm having trouble blending the E04 in on the Nina 110.
Are you?
Yeah, it's diluting. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
Okay. It might just be how many times you're going over. Here, let me try it again.
I may be over
Let me
blending.
try. How did you say it? How did you say it, Sherry? Which way were you doing it?
00, E11, E21.
Okay, so let me try it that way. So E00, E11, and then E21, because the E21 shouldn't be going directly over the 11. It should just be out.
That may be where I'm messing.
Out those lines.
Okay.
Yeah, when you blend, you shouldn't be going over that whole entire thing with the same colors. That could be a blending problem too. So, you know what? I'm just going to use one of these from class for later. So this is the Nina 80 pound. So when you do your blending, so I'm going to go along the hairline, this wicked hairline that this boy has, or girl, I'm not sure what it is. I just grabbed it because it had curly hair. So when you do your blend and you do the 11, you're doing just the hairline. And then you're doing your E04 right over the top. Don't go out, but go right over the top of the 11. Okay? Then we're going to go back to the 11. And just like, I'm doing like maybe 2 strokes to get it to blend out a little bit. You don't want to blend it completely out, but you want to blend it out. But I'm just doing little tiny strokes like that. Okay? Just tiny. I'm not one of those people that, you know how there's some people that can draw a straight line and it's just straight? Look, mine's just crooked as all heck because I shake.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to do smaller little flicky strokes. Then I'm not going directly over that, but I'm going right along the edge, and I'm just barely grabbing some of that 11 and the E. So I'm not going all the way back to the hairline. I'm just barely grabbing some of that 11 to bring down. Think of it as like, so that was the 11. So on my straight one, I'm going like this. So you see how there's a little bit left on that side? I'm just going right along the edge. I'm not blending all the way. And I just used 21. So then with the 0, I'll bring it out a little bit further. Okay? So the 0, after I do, this is the 11, the 0, then the 11 over the top of that, and then the 21, and then the 11, or the 0, what the heck, the 0, excuse me, is right over that. And then you said the EO4, because you were having problems blending that, so I'll do the EO4 for my shadow and just bring it back up to the top. And then I guess, what were you using after that, Sherry?
I think I was going back with the E21.
Okay.
I think I did an E11, E21, E00, 11, 21, 04, and then 21 again is what I did.
Okay, so that's how I got it.
Okay.
So it's darker, but it's just diluted.
Okay.
So if I do, and that's on the 110.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. So, and sometimes it just takes practice too. But just remember, when you put the lighter colors onto the darker colors, it's going to dilute it a lot. So the lighter colors, if you're putting them on that dark one, you got to watch what you're doing, because it will dilute it. And when you dilute it too much, it will get the spots, because that's what's happening. When you get those yucky spots that look like somebody spit on it, then that's what happens, is it's being diluted down too much.
Okay, thank you.
So like, let me grab Meadows real fast. So Meadow, my daughter, made this card last night.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
And she's, Lord have mercy, she'll be 13 next month.
Wow.
Yeah. So she made this last night, and she was, hang on, I got to take a drink. Sorry. But she started getting the icky spots up here towards the forehead. Because she was trying to do it the same way I do, because she's been practicing. But she started getting the spots, and when she got those spots, see, because I'm heavy-handed, and sometimes I will get the spots, but what I do is I will just go back over it with my E21 or my E11 to try and get it to where you get those darker colors back in there, because even though this is an E21, E11, E00, this E00 and the E000 are going to dilute the heck out of all the other colors, because this one is the lightest. So when you get that, just go back over it a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit with the 11 or the 21, and it should put the color back into whatever you diluted. So if you don't have all these papers, if you do use the Copic or the Hammer Mill and you're heavy-handed, I would try, like Teresa, you could just come over, or I could mail you, or even Sherry, I could email, just throw some paper in the mail for whoever needs it, so that you guys could practice and see which one works the best for you guys. So if you want me to mail you some, just go ahead and message me with your address and I will mail you some for you to practice on. Okay? So,
Well, I
but
want to come over, but I do have some samples of that paper that I had gotten a while back. I think all 3 of those. So I'll just try them out.
okay. What about you, Sherry? Do you have these papers?
I've got them all.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Okay. What about you, Paula? Do you have them?
I just got the 110 and the 80 in from Simon last week, but I always did use the Express It. And
Oh,
now
okay.
I'm realizing it's probably the paper. I can't get my hair and everything to blend right.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably, if you're heavy-handed like I am, sweetie, it's
Yeah.
more than likely the paper.
Yeah.
So now, do you normally go light to dark or do you go dark to light?
I always went light to dark.
Okay. Because I know that's what a lot of people tell everybody to do, go light to dark.
Yeah,
Try going dark to light.
I
See
will.
if that helps you.
I will. Kind
Because
of
that
like
might,
it dark to light, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of like it that way.
yeah. And a lot of because everybody is teaching and showing and thinks there's only one way to blend. But there really isn't. There's more than one way to blend, especially when you got people who are light-handed, like Amador. He says he's heavy-handed, and he'll know because I'm calling him out in this video right now, and he's in the group. I'm gonna call him out. He says he's heavy-handed, but I swear he's not heavy-handed because, yeah, he colored just fine.
I'm definitely
So-
heavy-handed.
Yeah, there's people who are heavy-handed and there's people that are light-handed, and I'm fine to be heavy-handed. I do not mind whatsoever. So it's just the people who are heavy-handed need to find new avenues or different avenues in order to blend the way they want to blend. So let's see. I'm going to use, what's your color hair, Paula, that you like to use, your favorite?
Oh God, I don't know. I think it was like the blondes, but I throw in a little bit dark over there, the E57.
Okay.
So I
So
use
like
the 50,
E57, E55, 53,
Yeah.
51. Okay.
and it turns out more the brownie than it does blondie.
Okay,
I
that's
like
probably going to be because you're using the 57.
Yeah.
So
I throw in a little bit 57 for a little bit contrast, like at the roots and the shadows and
Yeah.
things.
okay, so I grabbed all those markers. So Annie, there's a chat box too if you want. If you want to let me know what kind of paper you use. You're so quiet and we don't see you, so I don't know if you're getting help or not. So let's see, let's start with the 55. I'll start on the Express It because that's what you're using or we're using. So how am I going to do this? So here's some 55. Let me put these away. I'm going to get this muddled mess here.
So what colors are you using?
I've got 55, E55, E57, E51, E50, and E53. You got them?
Yep.
Okay, so actually, just put E55 on all of these. Just flick some out there. And then I'll go 53. And remember, don't go all the way back, Sherry. Just go like at the ends. Just go to the ends and blend the ends out.
I'm here. I just ran to get my Copics. They're not at my seat.
Why don't you have your Copics at your seat?
Because my computer's on the other side of the room.
Oh, gotcha.
Big room.
See, I don't have a big room. I have a small room. So all I have to do is like turn like a little robot and it's all right there. And Meadow will laugh at me because my refills are behind me. And I'll just lean back like you did in like high school. You know how you used to kick back in your chair? I'll do that. And she's like, you're going to fall over. I'm like, I used to do this all the time. Leave me alone. So now I'm going to use 51. And I'm going to bring that 55 out, or the 53 out. But as you can tell, I'm already getting that muddled mess on the Copic Express It. And I've been coloring the same on each one of them. Now I'll use the 50. And if you notice too, I don't know if you guys notice, but the Copic Express It is very gray compared to the Neenah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not truly white paper. It's very gray paper. So, and then pull the 51 out. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with a highlight color for Miss Paula. I hardly ever use this color. Okay, do you usually blend that out, Paula, or do you just leave it nice highlight, bright, dark highlight?
Yeah, I just leave them like the stroke, the flick to be hairline, you know.
Okay.
Highlight.
So kind of like what I did here.
Do what?
Kind of like what I did here.
Yeah, yeah.
You just leave it like that. Okay.
Yep.
So if you decide to leave it like that, you can. But if you want it, like if you got it too dark, I'm going to use my 55 and just pull it out a little bit. That way it'll make it. There we go. So, but you can tell I have a muddled mess on this one and I don't on these two. I'm just way too heavy-handed for Express It. So I did the exact, you can see I did the exact same thing on each paper, except for this one I put 55 over the 57. So anybody else, who else wants to pick colors? Nobody? Crickets? So does that help you a little bit, Paula?
Yes, it does.
Okay. What about you, Sherry? I see that big old smile on your face.
I just need to step out of the box, step out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I think that's my problem too.
I get
So don't, how many of us here, when we blend, well, I don't, but how many you guys go all the way back? Like, there was one time Meadow did this. She went to the 55 because she knows I go dark to light. And then she did 53, but she went all the way back and pulled out. And then she went 51 and went all the way to the beginning and pulled out. Does anybody do that?
I do.
Stop it.
And that's my problem. Yeah.
Stop it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Not learning something. See?
So, yeah, when you do it, you just want to, like I said, you want to put that down. And then here's the 53. Like, okay, so see where it's dark right here? Can you see that?
Hmm?
So,
Yeah.
like, right about here where it stops being dark is where you want to pull it out.
I'll be
And
done.
blend those end flicks. Okay, so, and then we'll do the same on this one with the 51. Go to the end of where the flicks, and then what happens when you do the E50, if you've got those bold lines, like you can see this bold line here, you can use that 50 to smooth those out. But don't use a lot of the 50 because that 0 on the end, that is going to seriously dilute your colors. Teresa, what are you working on?
I'm working on exactly what you're working on.
I want to see. See, so she pulls it down.
What?
Oh, okay.
Can you see?
This is so cool.
So
This is so cool.
I also think it helps with the second. It helps me blend with a second coat. Like if I go over everything twice.
Yep. And that's what makes you heavy-handed.
Yeah.
That's exactly what makes you heavy-handed is right there. And I do the same thing. We use ink. So,
Yeah,
but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. So, like this Nina here. So I went all the way out, but you know, if it gets a little mud here, where markers go. So I told you could go back over with the 11 or the 21. So this is 21. If I go back over it, it just makes it look more tan, gives more of a, you know, just gives it more of a shadowed look. But there's nothing wrong with going back over and pulling it out. You could even, here, I'll do it on this one so I don't mess you up. But on this one, you could even go back over with the 11 because that's what that part is. That one is 11 and 04 in that section. And then the 21 section, you can just go back over. There's nothing wrong with it at all to go back over if it starts to get a little muddled. Now you don't want to do it so much that it's just gonna, your paper is gonna stop sticking it up and it's just gonna sit on top, and that's when it gets all goopy and greasy and all that business on the top if your markers are clean.
Sometimes that makes it
Markers
too
aren't
dark
gonna
too.
get that goop too. What, Teresa?
I said sometimes that makes it too dark because every time you go back over, the colors get darker, right?
Yeah. That's why a lot of mine, like my Lalas, some of them look Mexican.
Yeah.
And I just leave it that way. Let me see. So like this one, I had to go over a couple times because I messed up her forehead. So she looks a little darker. And this one, to me, looks a little darker than this one, but I use the same colors. It's just this one, I needed to clean my markers, so I cleaned out my markers and went back over her face. And then there's this one where she looks completely light because my markers were clean the first time.
So what do you mean clean your markers?
Like I'll change the nibs, like let me see if I can find one. Meadow and I noticed that, not that one, but we noticed when I need to refill my markers, they have like they start to get like a weird little film on them lately. Kind of like but like they almost look smooth. It's really weird. So, like the other day I changed out all of my nibs, and I'm a weirdo, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a weirdo. People will tell you, a lot of people, and you can do this, it's just personal preference, but they will tell you that you don't need to change out your nibs every time you refill your marker or you clean your marker, you know, the insides where it gets all gross. I don't know if you can see that, but, or around the sides. But because I like my fine flicks and I like my color to be true, I change my nib every single time I refill my marker. Because if you look at some of your markers, when you refill them, the nib part will be super darker than the inside. And that's because it's getting so much ink through it that it's actually changing the color of your marker, like the color that comes out. So if you say you refilled it 3 times and you didn't change your nib, next time you do that, if that's what you do, look at your nib and then color it. You will notice that there is a change in the color. You will have a lighter color than what has been coming out. And so that makes a huge difference. And I'm weird. I will change my nib every single time because I want that nice, fine point nib. And I want it to where it's not smashed and stuff like that from mushing on it or doing whatever I'm doing. So you get that fine tip again. You get a more true color to what the color's supposed to be. And I don't know, it's just, to me, I like it that way. That's just, I'm a weirdo. So, but it's personal preference. You do not have to change out the nib every single time, but I wish I would have kept one for today, but this part right here, like right around the middle, before I changed my 55s out, it was actually, I mean, it was like, oh gosh, I mean, it was just smooth. It was like had no texture. It was just smooth and glossy looking. It was weird. So, yep. So, but you'll see that you get different, different tones. Like he was before I changed out my marker nibs. She was after. So you will just see that there's a little bit of difference.
Gotcha.
I can't believe you fussy cut all this.
Oh, honey, that is nothing. I have 10 cards due this week. Meadow said I was making an army.
Oh my.
I just can't believe you fussy cut them all.
Yeah, I do.
You really need a
Every
scanning
single one.
cut.
I'm too cheap to do that.
To do what?
Get a scan and cut.
Oh.
Really weird. I'm like, if I can fussy cut it out, why do I need a scan and cut? I told Meadow I'll get a scan and cut when I can't use my hands no more.
I know. I need to get one of those. I keep putting it off.
And that's why I had to get mine, because I have arthritis in my
I love
hands. Yeah, I use mine a lot.
What model number do you have, Sherry? I've forgotten.
I've got 3 of the 350 CMs.
Yeah.
What in God's green earth do you need 3 of them for?
They're not fast enough sometimes.
350 cat, Martha.
Oh my goodness. So any more questions on blending? Crickets?
That was great.
So, are there rules for the colors that you can and cannot blend?
No. Everybody will tell you that there are, but there aren't. Because I mean,
Yeah,
look,
like I've been told to keep
they always
the
say,
second number of the marker
yeah,
the
it's
same,
always
and
like
you don't do
second
that at
or
all.
third. Yeah, they say like second or third number. But honestly, sometimes I don't get that I'm going for when I'm doing that. Sometimes, like, especially with my, good gracious, where are my C's at?
Yeah, I'll show
Like
you
when
what
I'm
I
using
do.
my C's, it blend better, and it just works better when I'm using the very next color. So let me see, where'd that 5 go? Here it is. So I'm gonna take this out of here because we already know I can't.
No,
use
I'm
that.
getting rid of mine too.
I'm gonna put that in the circular file. So here's the C6. Okay. Oh, my dogs are gonna start screaming. I'm really sorry. I told my daughter, I was like, when you guys get home, you need to run in the house so you can shut all the dogs up. And then here's the 5 that needs to be changed. Oh gosh, and it sounds terrible. So you can see it needs to be changed. It's all dry and mucky. Set that aside. Lord have mercy. I'm so sorry. And then here's the 4. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Here's the 3 that also needs to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear it, it needs to be changed. So, but if I go from like the 6, and then the next one would be a 4, the 2 that don't need to be changed. I mean, you can do it that way too, but I'm still not getting quite the difference. The difference I get too is between the 3 and the 1. So you can go every 3 or every 2. This one needs to be changed too. Where's mine?
Where's mine is the question.
Teresa wants to know where hers is too. She went like this.
I'll get you. Is that Meadow?
Yeah, she just went back downstairs.
Oh.
So, but yeah, you don't have to follow the rule. If you're not getting the look that you need, then, you know, switch it up. So like, I'll also use like 23 or 25, and then I'll use 13 because I want it to be a little bit brighter instead of so dark. So there's 25. Thank you, kiddo. Or yeah, 25, and then there's 13. So it just gives it a little bit of a brighter but muted look because it gets a little bit brighter. And you could even go back to that's a 21.
Is that G or YG?
YG. 25, 13, and 21. And it's weird because you would think that wouldn't work, but it does. And these are the colors that I use a lot for my dragons or my leaves, things like that. You want me to move that?
So you laid down 25 first?
I laid down 25, and then I went to 13, and then I went back to 25, and then I did 21. So here, I'll do it on the Nina. Oh, and there's one, like, the lady who I loved, Sherry, who I went through my Copic certification classes with. And I love you too, Sherry. But I love my instructor, Sherry, too. I saw you look. But she was great. She was the one instructor that I had that was, if this isn't working for you, let's figure out what does. And she would actually take the time to help you and to help you figure out if you're heavy-handed or whatever. But one of the other instructors I had, they were like, if you can't see what you're doing completely through your paper on the other side, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I'm like, if I can see what I'm doing on the other side of my paper, I'm using too much daggone ink. And you're just soaking the holy heck out of your paper. So, and you don't need to do that. As you can tell, I'm using serious ink on this Nina, but I can barely see anything through it. So on the 110, here's the 25. And then here's the 13. And then because I got that big old dark line, I go back over it with the 25 to get rid of that line. And I'm just doing each one, I'm just doing stroke, 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 just 3 strokes. That's it. Can you shut that door, baby girl? I don't feel like listening to your brother holler. And then I'm going to the 21. to pull out to make it even a little bit lighter. So, but if something isn't working for you, don't go by what anybody tells you. Just try something new and do what the heck works for you. Because that's the important part. If it looks good and you like it, but then it's good. But if you're following what somebody else says, even me, if you're following what I say and you think it looks like poop, don't do it. Do what makes it look good for you.
That stuff never looks like poop.
What?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Your stuff never looks like poop.
Oh, but you only see it after the pictures.
Yeah, she cuts out the poopy part.
Yeah, I have a circular file right here, and all the poop goes in the circular file.
She can probably show you someone missing heads where she's cut the heads off.
Giving away my secret, Teresa.
Yeah, because I do it too now. If I don't like a piece of it, that's what you do. You just cut them off. So that's what I do. I cut it off and put
I
it
do.
up.
If you see any of my creations where I'm like, oh, look, I cut this apart to pop it off. Yeah, I'm not being cool. I done screwed it up. And I'm just covering it with the new one because I didn't feel like doing the whole thing over again.
That's one of the best things I learned from you. If I mess it up, just cut the part off and put another part
Yep.
on.
I mean, Meadow will come in my room. She goes, oh, Mom, I see you decapitated Marcy again.
I think that's fun.
And I have an Echo Dot in my room, and one of my friends, and even actually I have a few friends that think, oh, they listen to you all the time. And I'm like, well, they're going to think I'm in some funky business, Meadow coming in and saying I decapitated Marcy again.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, you can do that with any colors. You can switch them up, do whatever you want. You don't have to follow the rule. If you think another color is going to work better, do it. Seriously, do it. Do you guys have, I can't take it down, darn it. It's the hex chart for Copics.
Yeah, actually, that's what I do. Is I look at the hex chart and I pick colors that I like. I don't even pay any attention to the numbers. I just pick the colors that I like. I don't pay any attention to and then I swipe them on a piece of paper to make sure I have the scrap piece of paper I swipe on to make sure they're going to do what I want them to do. But that's what I actually pull colors from, is that.
Yeah, because sometimes the rule for two or three colors and stuff like that, sometimes that's not going to work. So, Annie, do you have the hex chart?
I do have it.
I should,
So-
but I don't know actually.
But it comes in very, very, do you have yours handy to work? Because mine's taped to my thing. Oh, you
This is the way mine looks, except the one I use has colors on it, and I don't know where that is right this second, but that's what I use.
Okay. But yeah, because that will help too. That does not follow the 2 to 3 rule. It just tells you what goes well together, will blend well together, and it's really super nice. Oh, you have it,
Hell, I thought I
Paula.
had it.
Yeah, I found it hanging
And
up
hers
on
is
the desk.
colored. So if you look at it, it doesn't follow the 2 to 3 rule at all.
Yeah, I think Sherry actually told me about that early on.
I think so. I think you have to purchase it from Sandy Alnook. I took
Yeah, I
classes
think you
in
did. Yep,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
You did.
So do we have any more questions about blending? Because we got about 6 minutes until the curly hair class. And I need to get set up for that.
Thank you very much. I love the Zoom meeting.
Me too.
Well, I think it's pretty cool.
Awesome. So maybe we'll do some more of these then.
Nice
Definitely.
to meet you, Paula.
Same here, y'all.
Yeah, it's nice to
Yep,
see your
Paula,
face.
Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Oh, my Aunt.
Alexa, stop.
Hello.
See, even Alexa's telling me to get out.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Teresa. I miss you.
Bye. I miss you too.
Okay, keep in touch.
I'll see you on Facebook in a second, Christina.
Okay, see you in a minute, you
I've got
guys.
to run get a FedEx. I'll be back
Bye-bye.
shortly. All right, bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.